Hey everyone, how are we doing today? Who's all in the chat? I don't know. I'm so big on the screen these days. I've enhanced the image size so much. It's taking up the whole screen right now. If you're in the chat, feel free to say hi. We'll see who's all here. We'll see if Mewbot's awake. I have a feeling we'll do some chapter 7, but it's up to you to decide. Pausing the video right there. Let's do this right here. Bring up the My Pearson. Is there any chapter 7? Is there any BAS 320? Is there any BAS 475? What shall we do? We'll see what chat says. It is the day before spring break. If Simon says we speak, we have visualizations, we have assignments on My Pearson. Hey, Chloe, good to see you here. What do you want about Viz 5? Let's do some Viz 5. Yeah, I see the Viz 5 right there. Volume here a little bit. And let's go grab visualization number 5 for BAS 320, or 201. Oh my gosh, I was in 320 right there. And let's go look at visualization number 5. Getting the visualization pulled up as we speak right here. Getting a new blank sheet of paper. And we do have the visualization playlist. Hey, Cassandra, good to see you here. Let me know if you have a question. And getting the visualization pulled up. Oh, I lost my notepad from yesterday. Okay, I need to go. Computer actually crashed yesterday. Crazy days, computer crashing. So we're going to do visualization 5 here at about 3:55. Stat 201, visualization 5, regression. Let's go check it out. Here we go. Okay, can we do the Scholastic Apptitude test question? Oh, of course, Summer, we can do that next right here. You bet. So I do want to point out, Mewbot has put the Visualization 5 playlist in the chat. So I'm going to go over some light ideas for Visualization number 5 right here. So please check out the playlist right there. Let me open it in a new window, open a new tab. Good deal. So Mewbot has dropped in the Visualization playlist right there. Go to the following video. I'm going to put it in the chat also. This is the kind of direct Chapter 7 quiz. Yeah, good question right there, Cassandra. We can do that next too. Let me put this right here. I'm going to take down those questions. Swing by, watch the Smash Bros opening right here. But we are going to talk some regression right here. So we have the Scholastic Aptitude and Stat 201, Chapter 7 quiz, Scholastic Aptitude, and then we have the Stat 201, Chapter 7 quiz, and we have the Marijuanna. We'll just put marijuana question. Marijuana question. Okay, let's go look at the visualization though. So with the visualization, we are doing regression, and the playlist is in the chat right there with the video selected for it. So you are going to use the used car data set. Now make sure to do a random sample of 200 plus your last 2 of your UTID. Now I always want to point out, the grading of it is down here. This is exactly how you're grading. Oh no, Maria, we got this. We got this, Maria. Tell me any question to do. We'll do it. So we've got here what you'll be doing. Make sure you do this right here. Like you include your name. Very important. 0.5 points for putting your name. 5 points. That's awesome. Take your random sample of 200 plus last year UTID. You have the correct output. We'll show the correct output here in a moment. Provide all of the conditions needed. So we'll talk over the conditions. And then we have interpretations right here. So I'll be kind of reading these off of the slope and of the intercept, and we have statistical significance. So I'm going to do a full regression right here and kind of read off the interpretations. Now, one thing I want to point out is with the video, I want to show you in the video, there it is right here. In the video, which is posted right here, I go through and talk about the equations and go through the interpretations, showing how the interpretations are done and how we would read the interpretations and talk about them. So check out the video if you haven't. Good walkthrough, but it shows you them visually so you can see what to put in and where. But I'm going to do my own regression right here, and let's go take a look at that. Okay, so I'm going to pull up and jump, and we are going to do a regression. Now, this is not your regression. This is one that I'm doing. So you won't see me. Well, we could do that. Let's go through the steps right here. Do Burger King menu items. Okay. You know, Burger King's some good stuff right here. So we've got the Burger King menu items right here in Jump, and we're going to look at, let's predict the cholesterol based on the saturated fat. So if we are predicting cholesterol based on saturated fat, what is cholesterol going to be, the Y or the X? If we are predicting cholesterol based on saturated fat, what will cholesterol be? So if we are predicting cholesterol based on saturated fat, cholesterol will be the Y or the X for 100 points, who knows in the chat. So if we are predicting cholesterol, that is our response variable of interest. That means it's the what variable. We are predicting cholesterol based on saturated fat. That would make cholesterol the blank variable. Would it be the Y or the X? Who knows in the chat right here? What do people think? If we are predicting cholesterol based on saturated fat, would it be the Y or would it be the X? If we are predicting cholesterol based on saturated fat. So cholesterol is the Y or it's the X. What are your thoughts? We always want to know the difference between the Y and the X. The Y is the kind of why question. Oh, get some BK fries. Oh, the great job right there, Troy. Gotta get those BK chicken fries. Oh, chicken fries are so good. Don't get me started on those. Let's go here to the analyze fit Y by X. Remember, I'm doing a different data set. Don't use this data set, and do take your random sample. We are going to go right here and predict the cholesterol based on the saturated fat, and this is going to make the model. Now, when we do regression, put the first condition in the chat with just 2 letters to remember the first condition, which you are seeing it visually right here. You are seeing the first condition. So I know the first condition is met because that is blue and that is blue. And you are not doing regression if you don't have 2 blue icons right here, which means the condition of what? So Troy and Chloe, great work right there. By seeing the blue and seeing the blue, you know that first condition is what? So we abbreviate it in my class. If you're from another class watching this, we abbreviate it and we call it this, but we should know what it means also. What is the name of that first condition? We need what to make a scatter plot. Like if you don't have this, you're not making a scatter plot. So if you see that they're red, if you're doing a My Pearson problem, that's an issue. You probably need to make sure to paste with column names. The condition is 2 quantitative variables. QQ, job right there. Ooh, a little bit of an issue here with this one. Ooh. It might be straight enough. Let's take a look. We're going to go here to the red arrow and go to fit line. So this will fit the regression line to it. So I really see a plot thickening. And to see the plot thickening, we're going to go and look at the residual plot. I'll show you what to take screenshots of. I'm going to go here to the second red arrow and go to plot residuals. And you can take the first one right here. And I do see it. I'm going to grab and make it a little bit bigger. So when I screenshot all this, let me do this. There we go. That's good. My first screenshot is the following. And new worksheet. There's my first screenshot right here. I'll make it a little bit smaller. It's a good screenshot. And then my second screenshot is of the residual plot right here. And I really see what's going on with this. Okay. So to go over the conditions, you can use technically any residual plot, but we usually go for the first. Or there's another one I like, but this one works. It's a good residual plot. Okay. So the residual plot allows us to specifically look at one condition, especially the plot thickening condition. And mine is a bit weird. Now, see if you see big things here, like this is the plot thickening. But I might also have a what? Like I definitely see some sort of plot thickening where the plot is getting thicker. It should say about the same thickness throughout, about the same thickness. But I see as we go to higher predicted values, the plot is getting thicker to a certain extent. But I also see a what issue over here maybe. That point, which I believe is this point right here, that looks to be that point right there, looks to be kind of a what? It might not just be plot thickening, because the plot thickening might be this. That yellow point I've highlighted over there, it might be a what. So I probably with this one, don't analyze it too over much, but I might say this menu item with saturated fat close to 4, and I could actually find the values. It might be good to quote it. If you hover over a point, you can get its exact value. So we hover over and we look at it and we say saturated fat of 3 and 330 calories. That might be a what. We could even mark it. Now, don't go for the ones that are too light. That is kind of on the edge of what I would consider. I might even re-screenshot this, but that communicates that that point right there is maybe a what. So that point might not be just plot thickening. That point right there might be a what for me. So look for things that jump out to you. This one definitely has some plot thickening, definitely that, and that I'd say that might be a mild outlier. A mild or moderate outlier. You can use qualifying words. Like think about how you would describe it to someone. This is a mild or moderate outlier. So when it comes to the conditions, we do have two quantitative variables. It is a straight enough relationship. We're looking at the line right here and asking, does the line go through the center of the data? And the line does go through the center of the data. It's kind of symmetric on both sides. And then is there outliers? There appears to be a light one. And does the plot thicken? There is plot thickening. We don't want plot thickening. Q, straight enough, no outliers, plot doesn't thicken. So it looks to me that there's issues with two conditions. I would list them out. Let me give the number one hint I would do for this. The number one hint I would do is I'd write something right here like, I would go right here and say two quantitative variables. Tell the reader exactly what it is. I would say pass. It passes because both saturated fat and cholesterol are quantitative. Watch it predict everything. I'll just keep tabbing over and it'll tell me everything. So I make it very, very clear right there that the two quantitative variables condition is passed. You could say like maybe fails or fails in my opinion, but try to make it clear to the reader. Also look for things that are more obvious. If I'm going to let it pass on one, which of these do you think is worse? The outliers here are the plot thickening. Take a moment right now. Tell me which of them do you think is worse? The outliers or plot thickening? So which is worse? Let me do a poll. Which is worse? Outliers or plot thickening? Which of those do you think is worse right here? If you had to look at this and be like, no, I think one of those is worse, would it be the outliers or the plot thickening? And we could describe that to someone. We could say like, maybe this kind of passes or light fail or, very much fails. We'll see how many people vote on this. So which of those is worse? The outliers or the plot thickening? Which is worse? Like which would you say it fails worse? Great job. I don't know how many votes we got in, but it's 100% in favor of what I would agree with. It looks to me there's more of an issue with the plot thickening. There's a light outlier or moderate light outlier. So yeah, I would say the worst issue here is plot thickening, and you could mention that in your write-up. Yes, plot thickening is when it fans out. It could fan out or fan in. You want what kind of thickness throughout, Troy, right here? Like what is the right thing? And it's called homoscedasticity. So what do you want with your plot? Like you don't want it to get thicker or thinner. You want the plot to have what kind of thickness, which would show up in a residual plot too. A residual plot should also show the same sort of thing right here. You want your plot to have the what thickness throughout. Like when you think about how wide out it goes from the data, which this one does not show that. You want to have like the same thickness. That's what homoscedasticity means. Homoscedastic means same spread. So you want it to not be heteroscedastic. Fun words right there. One of my favorite words, heteroscedasticity. But good stuff. And we do see that down here too. You do see the heteroscedastic or the plot thickening. And it's not good if it gets thicker or thinner. You want it to be the same thickness throughout. So the condition should be called same thickness condition. And you want it to have same thickness. So that it doesn't sound as great if you say same thickness. This is plot thickening, thinning, if that's a word. Yeah, you don't want plot thickening or thinning. You don't want either one. You want the same thickness. You don't want any sort of change in strength of the plot. Does that make sense right there? You want same strength throughout the plot. You don't want any sort of thickening or thinning of the points around the line. So same strength is good. Any sort of change in strength is considered bad, and we don't want to see like major changes, like a little bit. But use your qualifier words. Like I see some small issues here. I see large issues here. I see like small issues with outliers. I see moderate issues with plot thickening. So that's what we want to kind of do with this. Now we get to the interpretation of the coefficients. So in the equation right here, the equation is B0, B1, and Y hat. So the equation is written out Y hat equals B0 plus B1x. And this is the x variable right here. So it's important we know that B0 is the intercept. Now, do go to the video where I go through and give blanks for these. What we have right here is when x is equal to 0, we expect y to equal to 0. So when saturated fat, which is X, is equal to 0, we expect a burger to have 15.29 cholesterol. So I guess there can be a no saturated fat burger. That kind of makes sense. Just be like, that is logical to me because burgers cannot have saturated fats, and it would be expected to have 15.29 grams of cholesterol or milligrams of cholesterol. Use the units. And then we have here the slope coefficient, which the slope coefficient would be for each 1 gram of saturated fats, we expect the cholesterol in a burger to increase by 8.901 on average. Once again, that is for each 1 unit increase in X, we expect Y to increase by B1 on average. So for each 1 unit increase in saturated fats, or for each 1 gram increase in saturated fats, we expect the cholesterol of a burger to increase by 8.9 milligrams on average. That's the units of Y. So make sure to write out your interpretations. Check out the video where I show the blanks on the screen, or class where we wrote them down. R squared is blank percent of the variation. It's not required. I wish it was on this assignment. But blank percent of the variation in Y is explained by the variation in X. So 33.7% of the variation in a cholesterol of a Burger King menu item is explained by the saturated fats of a Burger King menu item. So, you can learn a lot about the cholesterol of a menu item by its saturated fats. Last but not least, we do need, I forgot a tiny bit of the output. We need a little more, and I showed this in the video. We need one more thing in the output. This is the statistical significance of the model, right there. Last bit of output we need is this one, and this is going to show us the p-value of the model. So the p-value of the model is the p-value of the slope. We also see right here still B0, and we see B1. And this is the significance of the model. So if the model is statistically significant, that means the line has some sort of slope to it. So if it's less than 0.05, there is a slope to the line. If it's greater than or equal to 0.05, it's probably similar to a flat line, or at least we can't tell statistically differences from a flat line. So my model right here is statistically significant. We would say there is evidence of a relationship between saturated fats and the cholesterol a burger has because the slope of the line is statistically significant, i.e. the p-value is below 0.05. Does this make sense, Troy? This is how we do the statistical significance. So this is kind of a walkthrough of the full output, interpreting the slope, the intercept, the R squared, which is not needed for this assignment, and also the p-value and the conditions. Once again, I'll put it in the chat right here. Check out the playlist. Here, we'll open this in a new tab again. But check out the video. I go through the examples. It's a good walkthrough of what to do. Just kind of 9 minutes of it, but check it out. There's the video in the chat again if you're watching this. And let me know if you have any questions. Good visualization assignment covering what we're doing. Long hair Brian right there. Let's head back and we're going to do some more My Pearson. Awesome. Not that bad at all. I like that. I like that. Let's head over. Okay. It is time for some My Pearson assignments. You're welcome, Chloe. Glad that helps a lot. Yeah, that's the goal. I want to like do similar things and give it like a different spin. I'm always thinking like, I don't want to replicate the video I made. So I'm like, let me do a different example and like do it at a different pace, because sometimes if I say everything the same way, it's like, oh, he said it that way in the videos. Everyone learns differently. So I'm always trying to find that way that works for someone. Because eventually maybe you see one of the videos like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, I didn't think of it that way. I'm trying to find that light bulb moment. Scholastic question. The scholastic question. Found it. Okay. The scholastic question is what we're doing. Let's go take a look at the scholastic question. We are currently at 2110. Let's go take a look at the scholastic question. Here we go. Some page. I saw the things page. I think you're working on the tabs, right? I was in a meeting this morning, and then you're working on the tabs, right? We could do that. We could try to do that afterwards. Look on those tabs. I think you're saying the plot with the tabs. I saw the email and I didn't uncheck it. So plot with tabs. We could, yeah, during office hours, make time for that page. Is that correct page? Let me know. Plot with tabs, right? I think it was. I think maybe. And I think group stuff too. I see. Don't worry. I feel bad. I'm like But no, yeah, well, let's take a look at that here. Let's do that after the stats one. You got it, Paige. Definitely. Thank you for swinging by. Everyone, all classes, I want them to know that. I feel bad sometimes that we don't get 324.75 in here. Okay, so let's take a look at the question right here. And we are going to do the Scholastic question. And the Scholastic question says, a group of high school seniors took a Scholastic Aptitude test. Their resulting math scores had a mean of this with standard deviation of this. The verbal scores had a mean of this with standard deviation of this. And a correlation of this. Does it literally ask, what is the correlation? Oh, well, no, it says correlation. So it says, what's the correlation? That's some free points right there. Write the equation. Now, this is where we need to go back over to the Solver app. So the Solver app is going to allow us to do this a lot easier. So let's open up the Regression Solver app right here. And with the Regression Solver app, we can input the summary statistics. Now, make sure when using this to put in the values exactly as they are. So make sure, we'll zoom out a little bit because I'm going to make it small screen here. If you make one decimal place error or you reverse a number, it will not work. Okay. So the correlation is just the, make sure to enter in as a decimal. There it is right there. That's the correlation. We are trying to predict verbal scores from math scores. So this is different than the other one. We're predicting verbal. So verbal is going to be the Y. So I need the standard deviation of verbal. So standard deviation, verbal scores had a this with the standard deviation of this. So I need the standard deviation of verbal because we are predicting verbal. Predicting verbal means it's the Y. I need the standard deviation of the X. And the mean of the X now, the mean of the X is the following. And the mean of the Y variable is the following. Now, one good check right here is to ensure that these numbers are both like 500 something and these numbers are 100 something. Now, we should be accurate right here. We have the intercept right here. And there's the intercept, round to 3 decimals. And make sure to hit enter, because if you don't hit enter, it won't finalize the results. Oh, and that is rounded to, wait, how did what? I copied it, right? I don't know what I did. Hopefully that wouldn't have counted off. And then this round to 3 decimals right here. One thing you can do is you can always take these right here and round them in the app. So just to confirm if you're worried about your rounding skills, because sometimes I get a little bit worried too. In general, what would a negative residual mean in this context? So negative residuals, very important to know what a negative residual is. A negative residual would be something where is a negative residual? Like we can use our graphic here that we just created and talk about negative residuals. Where are negative residuals? Because all we're doing is we're predicting verbal from math. So we could just pretend that this is a verbal math graphic and this is not our actual graphic. But when we have a negative residual, what does that mean? Where is the point if it's a negative residual? So if something has a negative residual, what should we know about it instantaneously? This is not the actual graphic, but we can just pretend because we have a line and we want to know what a negative residual means. So we don't even have to visualize it. We can just use a regression to understand what a negative residual would mean. It is where to what? Below the line, Summer, great job right there. So a negative residual has to be down here somewhere. Like these are the negative residuals. If something is below the line of prediction, it has a negative residual. So let's check that out. A negative residual means that the student has a lower verbal score than the model would predict. That looks to be exact. It means they have a lower verbal score, like their actual data point. Here, these are, oh, it's on the other screen now. How'd that happen? Here's their actual data points are the dots right there, and the prediction is right here. So prediction being this line, and then actual being those dots. Yeah, sir, Michaela right there, we can do it. I think we did it. We'll swing back here. We're going to do the plot with tabs, and then Stat Tool 1, Chapter 7, quiz. I think it's the GPA and SAT. Oh, we haven't done that one yet. Yeah, this is a different one. That's a good one right there. Good one. Good question. Those are the toughest ones. And this one is a tough one too. A person tells you her math score was 764. Predict their verbal score. Did say her right. So we're just going to plug in 764 into X right here. So we'll take 764. multiply it by this right here, add it to the following. As long as we didn't make a typo, we should be good. So we just plug in the value of x, round to 3 decimals, we're good. Oof, here's the crazy stuff. Use the predicted verbal score from this and the regression equation this, predict the math score. So now we're literally going to take the predicted verbal score and run it back through this. No one does this, hence it's the last part. So this one right here, there's that. We're using it as the value. We're just plugging it in right here. And then we're going to add to it. And there's the value. Okay. Now we get to a conceptual question. Why doesn't it equal 764? The line found originally, and when we minimize the sums of squares, I don't have the notes up from yesterday, the sums of squares is what you're minimizing on the y. So the first one minimized on the verbal because it's trying to make smaller errors on verbal, while the second line given in part E minimizes on math. Okay, that looks correct. So let me see here. What is the difference between this one? The line found in part B minimizes on math? No. They just reversed this. This is just wrong. They just did like the line found in part E minimizes on verbal. No, it's the line found. So literally these answers I think are the same. Oh, because no, it's saying found and given. So the line was given in, oh no, they do just reverse this. Yeah, they do. These are just the same answer, but they just reverse the ordering. On the visualization, this is the only screenshot we need to upload. The one you did in office hours, residual by predicted. No, you'll need all of them. Real quick on that. Make sure to check out. We were covering that to start. I show all the screenshots needed here. You could do it as 3, but these are the screenshots needed. Brent, great question right there. 100 points, Brent. We just were going over that. Anything you mention numbers from, you will need a screenshot for. We were just talking just in the other office hours about the residual by predicted. Don't just include that. You need to include all of this right here. But check out the earlier part of the video. We were talking back over the visualization and what screenshots to kind of back your numbers. I think that's got it. Check answers. Woo! Always get a little bit afraid. Always a little bit afraid when you click that check answer button. But good question. The end's a little bit weird, but it's just asking you. You're welcome, Brent, anytime. It's just asking you, like, we are trying to get smaller errors on the first equation. Like, we're trying to reduce the residuals, the error on the y value, which is verbal. But on the second one, we're trying to reduce error on math. Like, we're looking at the errors predicting math here on the second one. And the first one is doing errors on verbal. I wish it put verbal there. I don't know why they don't use context, because all data needs context. Heading back over. Let's do another My Pearson question. The next one is the marijuana question. Let's get the marijuana question. Oh, found it. Okay, time for the marijuana question, and the timestamp is 30/20/18. Let's go do it. Here we go. Do you think linear models are appropriate? So we got to look at a little QQ straight enough. No outliers, plot doesn't thicken. Okay, let's take a look. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Don't go too crazy. Don't go plot thickening because of this point. It's just one point. It can't have scatter. The line goes through the center, so it's 2 quantitative variables. Good. It is mostly the same thickness. What do I mean by that? Well, let me go in order. QQ, 2 quantitative variables. Good. There's literally 2 quantitative variables. Straight enough. Straight enough means that the straight line goes through the center of the data. You're looking for symmetry on either side. It's not perfect, but for the most part, the line is kind of going through the middle of the data. So it's straight enough. Like the line goes through the middle of those data points. It doesn't bend around it. Something that is not straight enough would be something that we try to fit a line to something like this, and then the line would have to bend around it. Can you go over the question, car's age and price? Yeah, we can do car age and price. Yeah, definitely. Car age and price. Let me put that on the list right here. Car age and price. Thank you for asking. Let me grab this. Stat 201, chapter 7, quiz, car age and price. There you go. Got it on the list, Emma. Great question, Emma. Thank you. 100 points right there, Emma. And so QQ straight enough. No outliers. Those are not outliers. That's not an outlier. needs to be a little bit further away for us to consider an outlier. If we're going to put outliers, we're going to do something like that. So look for things that are pretty far away to be outliers. If it's a little bit far away, it's fine. QQ straight enough, no outliers. Plot doesn't thicken. And for the most part, that stays about the relative same thickness. Generally, we're going to show you plot thickening of things that really fan out or fan in. So generally look for something that has a lot more. You could say there's small issues, but I don't see anything major right here. So if it tells me this is not good, I'm going to get pretty mad. Not really mad, just a little bit. So, yes, the relationship is... It's fairly strong, I think. Yeah, that's pretty strong. That's pretty strong. The points are pretty close around it. That's like a correlation of 0.7 or 0.8, maybe something like that. It's pretty strong. Does it tell us the correlation? It doesn't. Okay, so that's pretty good. Oh, there's the R squared. So R squared's this. Interpret the value. So a linear model on the percent of other drugs use accounts for 83.3%. 83.3% of the variation in marijuana usage. I would say 83.3% of the variation in marijuana usage is explained by other drug usage. So make sure to have your interpretation, understand it. Hey, Alan, so good to see you here. 83.3% of the variation in marijuana usage is explained by other drug usage. Now we get to the part where we need the regression solver. Once again, Chapter 7 modules has the regression solver. So log in here, load up the Chapter 7 module, go to the regression solver, makes life way easier. Okay, so here's the regression solver. We're going to go back in time right here to a blank regression solver. We're going to zoom in so we can see everything on the screen. It's going to be a little bit small right here, but just follow along with me as I enter in the values. It one value in the wrong spot, and the whole thing implodes. So the R squared, so they give us R squared. We need correlation. To get correlation, we need to square root R squared. And so we take that and we square root it, and that is correlation. And the reason we know it's positive is because the line was going up, because there's a positive slope. So correlation is positive. Remember the steps. Whenever you go, Simon 6, yeah, we can do this from here. Robbie, great question, Robbie. Let me put that on the list. Whenever you square root R squared, make sure to check the sign of the correlation. Assignment 6, question 2. You got it, Robbie. So when I look at this, I would say this goes up. Hence, I know that the correlation here is positive. So definitely a positive correlation with this data. And so we put in the value of the correlation, carry all the decimals. Why not? Now we've got the standard deviation of Y, the standard deviation of Y. We are trying to predict other drug usage. So we need the variation. Really? I don't want to show that anymore. That's annoying. We need the standard deviation of other drug usage. On average, had used other drugs with a standard deviation of 10.7. And I think it wants us to enter these as percentages. I'm going to enter it as it says. I'm going to cross my fingers. I haven't done this one a lot lately. Yeah, I think so. Let me look at the graphic here in a second. I'll know for certain. Standard deviation of the X is the standard deviation of marijuana, 15.6. And then the mean of the X is the mean of marijuana. Wait a minute. Yeah, we're predicting other drug usage. Good. Yes. No, I reversed this up here. Sorry. I thought we were predicting marijuana usage. Wow. So I did a reverse. An alarm was going off in my head saying, wait a minute. And the other drugs is 12.4. There was an alarm going off in my head right here saying a linear model on the percentage of marijuana accounts for other drug usage. We are trying to explain other drug usage, and it's clear right here. I thought we were trying to predict marijuana, and no, we are doing a linear model on the percent of marijuana usage accounts for this much of the variation in other drug usage. And we can see right here, marijuana is on the x-axis. You can also confirm right here that the x-axis is negative. If you were to extend this line down further, you should get a negative number, so that can help us estimate. And we do see in the regression thing right here that we do have -2. That looks to be somewhat accurate. I guess it would hit about there. It looks to be accurate. Going to cross my fingers. And we are doing it as whole numbers, so it's not as a percentage. So that looks to be accurate. As long as we've entered in the numbers the right way, we should be good on this. There's always the chance we could get it wrong. Never know. It says round to 3 decimal places, so we're going to let the app do the rounding for us by going right here and clicking and rounding it down to 3 decimals. So now it's rounded to 3 decimals. So when we go over here, we can put in the values of the intercept, and we can put in the value of the slope, and we're just going to straight copy paste these numbers so that way we don't make any errors. Number one thing to do is let the computer do a lot of the work for you. If you let it round it, it should work out correctly. The slope indicates that marijuana use, or wait, that blank, other drug uses increases by on average for each % increase in marijuana. Now, I wouldn't do this interpretation. I would say for each 1 unit increase in marijuana usage, we expect other drug usage to increase by 0.626%. For each 1 unit increase in marijuana usage, we expect other drug usage to increase by 0.626%. But they do their own interpretations. Does this result confirm that marijuana is a gateway drug? Now, what do we always say? We cannot prove or cause things with statistics. So the results indicate an association between it. We cannot show causation. We should be good. Just going to double check. The slope indicates that other drug uses increases. That's correct. I think we got slope intercept correct. A linear model of marijuana usage accounts for this much of the variation. That is the R squared. The plot shows this. I think we're good. Of course.
I am you.
No, wrong button. That's not it. Where did we make a mistake? I know this bottom one is it. 100% on that one. Did I do a rounding error? Where is the error? Nope, not there. We're playing hunt down the error. The intercept? The intercept? Okay, let's check our numbers. Where is the intercept error? It says the intercept is wrong. Well, let's see. Did I put a number in the wrong way? That's the problem a lot of times. Okay. Correlation is, does it seriously want like correlation rounded? 1, 3. No, still mad at me. Negative. Okay, wait. So that's the correlation. The Y variable is, we are predicting other drug usage. So the standard deviation of other drug usage. There it is, 10.7. The standard deviation of the X variable, 15.6. The mean of the X variable, and the mean of X variable is marijuana, and the mean of the Y variable. What is it going to say? I might need to correct this because I think there might have been some people saying that they had problems with this one because I know this works. And I'm wondering if maybe my Pearson is not calculating it correctly. I need to look, and we might need to eliminate this question because I do not see an error right now. That is the R squared right there. And we've carried all the decimals on our R squared. This carries every single decimal. If it takes that, that'd be so bad. Where is the answer? If I show completed problem, I think it actually changes the problem. Well, that's not good at all. There's a bit of a leeway on these problems. Actually, I think this problem only has a 1,000th of a leeway. Or, so yeah, this is, not happy about this. So please message me if you got this one wrong. Oh, there it is. Okay, we found it. Wow, by guessing. And did I seriously just get it close enough? Because I think it only has 1,000th. No, it's got it within the range. So it's within the range of acceptable answers right now. Okay, so it's close to 2.7 is what it's saying to me. That is weird. I am trying to think what would be wrong about this. The R squared, this is the first one we've gotten wrong in weeks now. Maybe a week or something. It would take a lot higher. No way do they round this to 0.92. No. It would take a very high round of this to make that work out. And then it's changing that number. And that wouldn't be it unless... So here's the way to... Let me see. Copy to clipboard. Okay, let's do this. Okay. I should have solved it using jump. We were predicting other drug usage, and let me look at what the numbers they give. Okay, here's the model. And these numbers are also a bit different. Ooh, I need to eliminate this question. I need to tell my Pearson they have a bad question. Because the numbers jump gives with their data are different numbers. There's the value of r squared, very close to it. And then the intercept is negative 7226. And here's the thing. They must be misestimating the standard deviation or not carrying enough decimals because if we look at these values, the mean of, there's the standard deviation. Let's look at those. These are the values they're not telling us accurately. So then we can't calculate it accurately. 15.6. Okay, that's the right value there. And then standard, and then the mean is 24. So there's the mean. Okay. And then the, it's the other one, mean of 12.36. So this one right here is 12.36, which that they should carry an extra decimal on that, and standard deviation of 10.74. So they are not carrying enough decimals with their calculations. That is not good. Please email me. And I think some people already have about this question. And I was like, oh, it's not close enough. And they're saying they entered it inaccurately, but now this question does not, it needs to be eliminated. That's sad. It's a decent question other than that, but no, it's not carrying enough decimals. And we could confirm this by going over here and showing, and let's see if it works with jump. If we were to put in the actual correlation, which I think we have stored here still, here's the actual correlation of it. If we put in the standard deviation of the y variable, which is 10.744978, and the standard deviation of the x, which is, there it is up there, 15, come on, little guy, 15.601282, and the mean of the x, which is 24 on the dot, no decimals to carry, and this one here is 12.3636. And now we get the intercept of negative 2.723. And let's see here. And it counts it. Yeah. And then, so it would count it. And then this right here is the following. Wow. It still counts it. Yeah, that's not good. And then this is virtually identical. Like jump's even carrying more decimals when it calculates it. It would count it with negative 2.722. So that is, I think I need to respond to a few emails. A few people emailed me about this. So yes, they were entering it into the regression calculator, and for some reason, they're not carrying enough decimals on this, which is a problem. This question is fundamentally flawed right here, hence why I missed the intercept. The slope was fine, but the intercept, because of the non-carrying of decimals with what they give us up here, they shouldn't give us that information if we're not supposed to use it. So anyways, well, that's a bummer. Got a little sidetracked there on that one, but that just drives me nuts that, well, let me go and eliminate this question here real quick. So one moment. Brian is eliminating a question. Well, how much does this question count off? You know what we're going to do instead? So a better way is to give everyone bonus. I'm going to add some bonus to this assignment. How much is that worth right there? It's 2 values. It's 2 values. 1 point possible. I think I should put like 4 extra points. If anyone's here listening, I think I should put maybe 4 extra points on this assignment. Little +4 on the little Salt Bay, +4 on this. What are people's thoughts? Hopefully I didn't lose everyone with that little sidetrack right there. But I think we should do like +4 on the assignment. Emma says yes. Yeah, it's ridiculous. They give the numbers, but they don't give enough decimals. The solver is working fine. Like the solver is doing what it should do. Give them +4. Alan says, Alan, it is Alan approved. So if you do it in jump, you will get the right answer because jump will carry enough decimals. So if you want to solve that one and get the +4, do it in jump like I did where I copied it over to jump. So the solver, because of the lack of decimals that they're carrying, you might get it right if it works out for you. But if you want to get 100 and get 104, use jump for that last question. That's my best advice. If you lose a little bit of points, you can still email me and say, hey, Brian. But if you don't email me, you'll still get the +4. If you do email me and say, hey, Brian, I did this right with the solver, I'll give you back the points. And I probably have a few emails to look at because we have confirmed that they didn't carry enough decimals on my Pearson. That's a my Pearson error. Rare to see, but it happens. We're going to do a little bit of stuff with the tabbers here, Paige. So this will be, we're working on some stuff. Do check out if you have a moment. We are doing an event tonight at 6:30 Knoxville time, a business analytics event talking about careers in analytics. It's going to be super exciting, and we've got a new panel of stuff. Let's see here. People are saying, "Hey to me." What is this? Oh, I should have looked at this person's thing before I added them on LinkedIn. They want to know if I'm currently keeping my business options open. No, I'm not. I'm very, very happy. That's too funny. It's too funny. I thought, sure, should have looked. I'm usually very particular about who so you can add me on LinkedIn. I'll try to remember to add students. You guys should be, oh, thank you so much, Alan, right there. Alan, so much positivity, 100 points right there. I'm going to bring up Paige's app right here and take a look at it while we're doing this. I think spring break-itis is hitting me. The spring break-itis, I'm getting so close to it. We're all getting so close to spring break. It's on our mind all the time. And we're like, man, it's going to be a full week of just relaxing. And our brain starts to go spin down a little bit. Let me see right here. Whoops. Page mark on red. Okay, I'm trying to find the message. Oh, wait. Wow, I found it. Oh, wait. Paige, did you... Wait. Did you already click on it? Paige, did you send me it via Discord? I'm in on red again now. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay, group assignment. Okay, here we go. I see it right here. Oh, it's from yesterday. I'm sorry. I thought you sent it on Discord too. Okay, here we go. Do I have your latest assignment page? So yeah, can you send me I found it, but I don't know if I have the latest. Send me the latest. We'll spend a good 10 minutes working on it here. So we'll be back to some Stat 201 here in about 10 minutes. Just email. Yeah, I have it in the email. We were doing an email communication yesterday. And the last email is, sorry, I forgot to attach it. And I said I would make a data frame. So I have the attempt feature 2. I've got that pulled up right now. Looks like there's errors with the server or something. And I think I see some issues with this. Yeah, I think it's the latest attempt feature. Okay. I'm running it in the background, see if it runs right now. It's loading in different stocks. So the server is not closed. Okay, so the first thing I did right here is I closed the server, and that might fix that. Okay. Let me see. Okay, it's mad about the server still. The UI is not closed. Okay, so wait, the UI ends. Is that where the UI ends? I'll send it back here in a moment. The UI ends right there. Okay. There was a double end on the UI. Okay, now the UI looks to be ended. Let me control format this again. Okay, so this might run now. Let's see if it runs. Server still not found. Let me try running this server. Okay. So I deleted out the plot thing. What I would do, and I think I can show this. Do you mind if I show a page? Is it all right if I show it? I sent a different one. Check that. There's a random code that was... Okay, cool. Let me take a look at the new one. Do you mind if I show it? Is that okay? Okay, I got feature 2 here. Let me download and take a look. I'll show you in the background here lightly. So let me plot with tabs. Are you trying to do the tab thing? If you're trying to do the tab thing, we can look at that. I've got the Powita BS 475. Okay. That's fine. Did I show it? Yeah, cool. Okay, so right now I think I'll show it right on my screen. Okay, right now I think it's not running, and this is a common mistake people make. A common mistake people make is that they think the app is running. Drop down menu for a stock to show a plot. So a common mistake that people have a lot of times is they think their app is running, but it's not. I'm gonna delete everything out of here, and we're gonna rerun this because right now it looks like the server's not saving. It's gonna say server not found. So right now this is not running. I got it, the other version of it working over there. So what we need to do is we need to get this working first. Like we need to get it working. And the server looks to be the issue right now. So the server right here, the server is closing right there. That's good. We're just going to remove out the server. Okay. Then we're going to run it. Okay. So we have confirmed that if we just clear out, visualization slope is negative. Is that right? Yep. Slope will be negative. Great job right there, Brent. Sorry I missed that. Oh, yeah, you did ask that, Brent. 100 points. Your slope is negative, so make sure to mention a decrease. Thank you, Brent, for asking. 100 points. I'm sorry I was jumping around and I missed that. Thank you, Brent, for re-asking it. I appreciate that. So something's going on right here. Now, this is where I would change what's going on right here. You're trying to get a plot to show up, right, Paige? Like you want a plot to show up. Is that accurate to say that? Like your goal right now is good. No, you're right. Thank you, Brent. I appreciate it. I feel so bad when I miss questions. I'm like, oh no, because I'd hate for someone to be like, I talk in the online class and you never see what I'd be like, no, I'm sorry. The issue is with a lot of so it's a lot of if else's, and so you want the plot to show up. You're trying to get this plot in the app, and if we're trying to get that plot in the app, let's think about how we're going to do this. Well, now we have a server that works. You always want to think about, does my app just work? And so we want to have it in a working state right here where it's working. And then the first thing I like to do a lot of times if I'm going to add a plot is I go in here, and I think you have it called plot right here. So we need to store a plot. We're going to go here to output, $plot, and go to render plot, and let it do the capitalization. And with the render plot right here, we're going to go a histogram of 1 through 100. Now, this is not what we're looking for, but the whole point is to make sure it's doing a connection of it. Does this make sense theoretically right here that year can be deleted? I was trying something else. Awesome. And so does this make theoretical sense right here that I am, just getting a plot to show up? Like, make sure you've got the connection, make sure the wires are working. Now, we have the wrong thing going through the wire right now, but you just want to have things in a working state at all times. Be like, okay, like this is working, but it doesn't have the right plot. So now our goal is to kind of change this plot. So we have it working, the app is running, but now we want it to change the plot. Awesome. And then we're just going to think about, let's get one of the stocks to show right here. So now we want one of the stocks to show. I think up here you have the PEP1 stored right here. Now, this is where I was mentioning like a data frame. You download all the stocks right here, but if we're going to make a data frame, let's make it outside of this. And let's go here to data.frame. And PEP1 is an XTS object. Okay, so what we'd want to do right here is we want to append to this. We'll change the class of it. Did you go the test question research? We did that one yesterday, Carson. Good question, Carson. We did the mortality and calcium. It's on yesterday's video. We might not have enough time to get to that day, or swing by today's later office hours. We can probably do it again. That's on yesterday's, and it's marked from yesterday. That will kind of work right there, Paige. That will work, and we're going to do something a little bit different, though. Because these are already data frames, we're not going to... I don't know exactly what that will do exactly, and I don't think it'll do exactly what we want. We're going to actually do something called... my brain's breaking right here. Row bind. There we go. You can bind columns together. Like these are columns, and you can put columns together, or you can bind rows together. Like these are rows. Like my arms are in the shape of rows right now, and you can bind rows. You can also bind columns together. Like if you have columns, you can bring columns together. So I'm going to do what's called row binding of these, and I'm going to row bind P1, PEP1 with SPG1, and I want you to take a look at it. That is not what I want. It's putting those names together. It's an XTS object. Let me look at combining STS objects. Row bind XTS objects in R. Row bind XTS function. Okay, wait, here it is. It's row bind XTS. Wait, what? R bind. They're just saying. No, they're just saying. Oh, is this? Let me look at it. Is it not working? Let me start as X. No, that's not it. What did I do wrong? Oh, wait. There we go. Got it. We're good. Okay. It's now fixed. Okay, so now we're good. Because it is rbind, row bind. That stands for row bind. So we're doing a row bind on these. Does that make sense? And this is TSLA1. So this is creating the object over here. So actually the storing of it is actually not doing anything. If you put auto assign false, so the storing is not doing anything. Does that make sense? Are you following me on that? That these are not doing anything right now. Because it auto assigns when it runs this, it will. What's it mad about? Was I wrong about that? Oh, I cleared this. There we go. And so it the storing into names, unless you do auto assign false. If you do auto assign false, now you have to put a name to it, and it didn't store the object. So now you could call it something like PEP1, and now you could store into the name PEP1 because the auto assign is off. So without auto assign false, it'll store into the name of the stock ticker right there. So that is going to grab all the stocks and give them the names. And then I want to do an additional thing right here. I want to go to PEP and store into name and store name PEP. Now, there's a reason I'm doing this. Ooh, it's mad about it. It's mad. Why did it not like that? So it said, no, I can't do that. NA's by coercion. Okay, now it did it. Do I need to do it twice? Oh, that's weird. Well, that means for some reason it created it, but it didn't store into it. So what we're going to do right here, and I'll explain why we're doing this. I don't know why we have to do it twice, but we will if it requires it. And I can send this back to you right here. We're worried about the end product now, and I'll show you the end product we're trying to go towards. Okay. So that should do it. Let's run the code. See, it's doing the NAs the first time, but then it's changing it the second. That's good. Now we're going to take and put all our data frames together, or row bind them. And so we're going to take this, put this right here, take this, put this right here, store it into object X. And when we look at object X, what do you notice about object X? What do you notice about object X? What is very important to see about object X? So object X is now what? Which is very important to see. I think we do need to, in the column names, we need to change the column names on this. So we need to go to call names of X, and the call names of X should be, let me view it. I'll take the code down here while I'm doing this. The call names of X should be open, high. I'm just going across the top names. Low, close, volume, adjusted, name. Okay, copy that. Bring it over here. And take our call names, put it there. Call names. Okay. Now we have those right there. How are you following along with Paige? I'm basically trying to create this thing to use later on. And the creation of this is where we have all the stocks stored. So going through and creating like the data frames of the stocks we're going to use right here is making it so everything is kind of formatted accurately. The row names are completely crazy right now. I could go through and change the row names. I'm a little bit worried because maybe when I load this, it'll have different row names. Well, let's go here to row names. Row names. I just don't like for things to look weird. Row names of X, store into it, a vector of 1 through the number of rows of x. There we go. So now it should look nice and pretty. Oh, wait, what? Row names of x. I thought those not row names. Oh, there are no row names. Is that not? Oh, cancel. Is that not row names? I thought those were row names. It's from the original data. It's like the date, and the reason it puts the .1 on here is because there's already this row name. Row names are like unique. Let me look at row names of an XTS object. Row names with XTS object. XTS is a specific class of a different time series. Are obtaining row names using quantmod, and it's not the index. Oof, that could cause problems. Let me look at that. If it is the index, that's going to cause problems. Okay, it's not the index. But someone's saying get symbols. No. Everyone's saying index. Dim names? No. Okay. There's the row names and column names. Well, it looks to be working. I'm not going to worry so much about those row names. It's not doing what we want, but that's not the end of the world. This needs to be, if we're running things, this needs to be here. Make sure you have your stuff in order. And now we have it the way we want it. So then we have to think about, here's the next step page, and the next very important step is to code whatever we are doing outside of our first. Does that make sense? We always code, or not outside of the Shiny app. So whenever you are coding something for your Shiny app, yeah, it's okay if you leave it like that. I don't think that's going to cause issues. It's going to make it easier if we have the column names as uniform as possible without the pep in it, the Pepsi. So we are now going to try to make a graphic with this right here using just not Shiny. We're not going to go Shiny yet. I think the chart series works on an XTS object. So let me go to chart series. It's going to be a little bit interesting to start right here because we're going to look at this object X. And let's go to the close on it. It doesn't like chart series. I had a geom graphic earlier. XTS quant mod ggplot. So let me go grab this. Ooh, 4 stocks. Someone's saying, how do I plot one with 4 stocks? That's cool. Oh man. Group right here. They might have the code perfect right here. Okay. So I just found a code right away. Let's see if it works. Okay, date. Do we have date? We don't have date. Ooh, it's a problem. So the issue right now is our data frame is not properly organized. We have, so did PEP originally have date in it? I thought this has date. Oh, he's probably treating that as date. Because, let me see. PEP, $sign date. Doesn't have date, but that is the, maybe we can do it all as originals. You know what? There's such a better way to do this. This already shows a better way right here, just flat out. So Paige, this is sometimes where you realize you're working yourself too hard to like you're like, wait. So the TQ get, which are we using TQ get right now? We're using get symbols. So TQ get is tidyquant. And we might have been able to do this with, we could try this with quantmod. So with quantmod is the get symbols. So quantmod and TQ get. Let's put this right here as a difference right here. And let's try this. And let's try it as a vector of stocks. And now we need to go to the auto assign false. We're going to try this with quantmod first. Auto assign false. And let's go here and call this stocks. And now we've got a vector of stocks right there that they've chosen. Similar as stocks. We got too many commas. And now let's see if it stores into stocks. We're going to remove this. We've got the start. We got the end. And let's see if it works. Get symbol must use auto assign true. Oh, I put false. Haha. And now let's see if it gets all those stocks. So this created not a data frame. I don't like that. It didn't create a data frame. It just created not a data frame. So I'm going to go over here to the TQ get, which is in tidyquant. And I'm going to do the same sort of thing, but with tidyquant this time. So now we're going to do stocks over here with tidyquant. And now let's get these right here. We need tidyquant. And this might work a little bit better for our goal. So with tidyquant right here, it should make, as far as I can see, all the stocks. So it is looking great. Does this make sense right here? Probably, we might have had it with the other way too, but this already did all the work for us. So a lot of times you want to get a function that really does all the work you're looking for, and look at how the data frame has what we're looking for. It has the date, which we need to make sure we can plot this. It has the symbol. It also has the open, the high, the low, the close, all this good stuff right here. So this code right here alone is allowing us to grab a vector of stocks right here. Now you could use this in the app if someone selects certain stocks and have like a submit button to grab those stocks. So I think I would incorporate this into the app such that somebody can grab multiple stocks. Do you have an issue? What's the issue, Barrett? Let me know. Tell me about the issue. Because now we eliminated all of this right here and we just have this code. So this code right here is doing it. And what's even better, and I'll send this page your way, is the code the person has. We can basically work off what they have. Now, you don't want to, don't go to an app that's built and take everything from the app. That's not our goal with this. But that shows us, we understand what this code does. We've got the start date, the end date, we've got the stocks we're picking. And from here, we can just plot the stocks. It says stocks not found because I called it capital stocks. And we're just going to run this right here and we get a plot and we can see individual plots of every stock and it looks great. So this is excellent right here. And so someone could actually pick multiple stocks and have it appear and using the tidyquant right here. So very, very good way of doing it. I've also seen other really good plots with tidyquant. And so now that we have our plot, we need to go back in here and we've got the selected stock somebody has. I would not do this right here. Whenever possible, I need some visualization. I cannot tell whether my data has an outlier or not. It might be, you can be kind of like, maybe it, you can be like, it looks light, mention the value. So you want to use your best judgment. Now, remember, we're going to make outliers obvious. That's the best hint I can give you, Barrett, is we're going to make outliers obvious. So if you have a stream of data points, there's nothing too far away. Outliers are going to be far away from the rest of the data. So you want to look for something obvious to be like, there is an obvious outlier here. Or you could say there doesn't look to be any obvious outliers. Like, try to see if there's obvious outliers. That's a good thing to do right there. Like, are there obvious outliers? So we have our current stocks. Let's eliminate this down. So whenever we're building this here page, Abby for research with the slope interpretation B, it will be negative. Exactly. Great job right there. Abby, great answers. So I'm for each 1 unit increase, it'll always be increase. So Abby, to that, it will always be for each 1 unit increase in X. Oh my gosh. For each 1 unit increase in X, we expect Y, and for yours to decrease by B1 on average. For each 1 unit increase in X, we expect Y to decrease by B1 on average because it's negative. Abby, great question right there. Thank you, Abby and Barrett, 100 points. No obvious ones, then there's no obvious outliers. Hint for the assignment, there's no real obvious outliers. So let's go grab SPG. We have APL, Apple, and we have Microsoft right now. So when we work with this Abby, or page, excuse me, we always want to build small stuff to start. Does that make sense? We want to build very small ideas. Like, don't start with a whole bunch. Just build a very small idea. We've got the graphs working. Now the app right now should show that we just have the 2 options to pick from. Oh, thank you, Barrett. I appreciate it. We get to do so many cool things with like what we learn and how we build upon our knowledge. Like, we already see a histogram, a uniform histogram right here. So there's a little 201 for you right on the screen. So we've got only 2 stocks. Always build small. Don't build everything to work at once. Build something small. Let's get one of these 2 graphics to display. So it has the stocks in its brain right now. I'm going to do the easiest of things right here. You ready? We're going to go right here to where the histogram is, where we're showing the histogram currently. That's where the histogram's being made. I'm opening it up a little further by hitting enter right there. And now we're going to take and we're going to try this. We're going to take our stocks, which is currently stored as stocks, capital stocks, and we're going to pipe into it an auto plot, and we're just going to see if that works. Just going to try that. It might or might not. We'll find out the hard way. It says no. It says I don't want to auto plot that. So probably now we need to pipe it through the ggplot. Okay, so we got the aesthetic, the date, the close, all this stuff. Let's just grab our code right here because we've already got this. Let's just grab this and let's just pipe this in. Yes. Well, so we will take. Well, we don't have an input plot, so now we have the graphic here, right? We have this graphic, right? But it's not our data. So we are able to make this display right now in the. So now we're closer. We have a stocks graphic here, but it's not our stocks, right? So we're close. We don't have an input plot because there's no input plot, but we do have input selected. So what we need to do is we need to filter our data because we only want the stocks someone selects. So we want to go here to filter, and we want to filter the stocks data based on, and the stocks data is called symbol. So we want to filter on symbol is contained in, we could do equals, but I'm going to do, no, let's do equals, because it's only one right now. Input $ selected. And I think that should do it. Exactly. It's in the selected. I think this will work. Cross your fingers. Not working right now. I think it's broken, actually. If you get the same thing, I think it's mad. Oh, you know why? We're missing a pipe. I forgot to put the last pipe on there to pass it through to the next thing. So the app actually broke. Now it's mad. It says facet variables must have at least one value. So it's because of the facet plot they're doing. So we need to make changes down here. They're doing a facet wrap. Let's see here. Geomaesthetic, candlestick, labs, all that great stuff. Coordinate start to end. I think if we remove the facet, that's going to fix it because they're doing a facet on this. So we don't want that. The visuals do not require. You could say maybe a little bit of technique. Ooh, we're getting somewhere. We got the plot on the screen. So now we got a plot. Now we have a plot on the screen. The visual does not really thicken, but it's sort of ambiguous. You could say it gets a little bit. You could say a little bit, but I think it passes. Maybe some hints right there, Barrett. Maybe a little bit of plot thickening, but maybe it passes. Little bit of plot thickening, but maybe it passes. Little bit. So the issue right now is something right here. Date, close. Oh, the group. Let's move the group symbol because this is extra things we're not using. So we're super close right now. This is like everything's looking good. It's just not displaying it. And so we're kind of breaking one of Brian's rules right here that we should get it to work outside the app first. So let's go take this over here real quick and just work with it for a second. And then we'll do another tool one after this. So we're going to take this all outside the app because we know it's connected. We know it's seeing it. It's just not working properly. So we got the stocks, we got the filter, and we're probably going to get the same graphic. It's made about something, input selected. So we need to input. We have to pretend like we're using the app right now and put AAPL. And we're going to get. Okay, so it worked. I didn't want to see it work. I didn't understand why it was not working. And now that it works, I'm not happy because I'm like, okay, it works here. Why is it not working there? I actually did not want to see it work. I didn't want to see this graphic is what I'm saying. Let's think about this. Is it the input selected is not seeing it as a character? No, it's not it. Let's put it in as a static object and put it in as the AAPL. So sometimes using a static right here will make it so, like you're just using one. Okay, so we've narrowed down where the problem is. And Paige, does this make sense? Did I mistype something? Did I mistype where the input's at? Does this make sense how I'm troubleshooting this? Like I'm trying to find out exactly where the problem is with the code. And the problem was the input selected is not finding that AAPL because the code works. So like theoretically, I'm like, everything I've done is theoretically accurate. So to narrow down the problem now, it's like, okay, I have to find out why it is not taking this, input right here. So the issue was with this right here And so that is going to be the selected, and it should be input $ selected. I don't select input. Did I do a typo on it? I'll have to go back and look. Ooh, what's going on right here? Select input is storing into selected. Let me look at the way this is written. Choices, list. Oh, you know why? Oh, I think I know why. This is why. I think that's why right there. I think it was seeing 1. It wasn't seeing AAPL. There we go. There we go. So the reason is because that was stored as 1 and the other one was stored as 2. So it was seeing find stock 2. It was trying to find stock 2, but I wanted to filter based on the stock name. So it was looking for filter stock 1. Yeah, so that was the issue right here. I was like, it has to be this right here. Like, I hear it. So the choices when it was looking for it, and we just had to disconnect. Sorry about that. Exactly. We should have it be named the stock ticker right there. And so that's going to do it. And now we can just add in more stocks. And here's the thing is this can dramatically change right here. And that's the goal is we can just add in our extra stocks right here. And this is kind of where, because with the if else, that's what I was trying to point out too about this, is we wouldn't want to, I do spaces with my code. So we're going to, it's just the way I code. And this is where we're kind of using like a structure or things because now we can usually get like Google on here and just look at Google like that. So does this all make sense to your page? And this is a time plot, stats 1, a scatter plot, which we're talking about for chapter 7 as a time plot. And then just kind of going through here and extending it out. And like the more you section it off, the better it looks. And then selected 1, it can still be this, I think. I think it still knows. We'll see if it selects Microsoft. Might need to change that. Okay, we need to change that. So selected 1 is not currently working. We'll put it to MST. Yeah, awesome. So glad to help. I've been jumping around between emails and Discord messages. So I've been trying to answer everything I can. You could also do a facet plot or something like that. Think about tabs you want because now, maybe put this in a dashboard layout. Think about ways to improve it. Like you just want to like have these features working and then you can just take these chunks of code and put them into the app. Like, here's a candlestick plot. We can select from these. I would think an action button would be pretty good. I don't know if that only interacts with that one page. So you could grab a current stock or something like that. So a lot of cool things. Let's head back to the main screen. I love working with code. It's a lot of fun. Like just getting it to work. And we're going to look at stuff today in class. But maybe talk more on dashboard layouts. Kind of what I've got planned for today. You're welcome. Yeah, great questions there, Paige. Thank you for swinging by. I always want to help out with 201, 320, 474, 475. All the good classes right there. Everything. Every class is amazing. We did car price and age. So I'm gonna we did it yesterday. If you're looking for the car price and age question is on yesterday's video. Are all of us in these classes have to no no Barrett. No. I am so happy to be helping out. Like this is my job. My passion is helping students understand how to do statistics. We're going to talk a little 320 right here. So we got some advanced stuff at the end right here. I just love solving. Oh, Legionnaire misses me. Oh, I'm sorry, Legionnaire. I just love solving data problems. It's like a puzzle. I just made a video talking about that. Like when you get something to Paige, when you get code to work, how do you feel? Are you with me, Paige? Like code works and you're like, yes. Like it's so funny when I got the graph to show up, I was like, wait, why is this showing up? I was confused. I was like, this shouldn't show up right now. But I couldn't figure out why it wasn't showing up. So that's why I went over and like looked at it to see like, why is it not showing up? And then it did show up and I was confused. And when you get things to work, at least for me with code, it's super exciting. I'm like, yes, this is great. And so that's what I really like. I like getting code to work. It's like you have solved the mystery. Did you ever do... I think we might have to do that one later. I'm trying to remember if we did it yesterday. But check out... Are you free for office hours later today? We're going to do a little 320. Are you free for office hours later today? Let's head over here and check out some BAS 320. Let's go check it out. So this right here on BAS 320 is going to be a transformed model. So we are doing some regression right now, actually. So with this, we are going to look at a housing data set where we're predicting, I think, price from square footage. So let's go down here to question 2 again. And here we are. So when we do this, we're going to load up the EX3 housing data set, and we need to load library reg class. This is where all the regression data sets are at. And now that we have it loaded in, we can load up the housing data set. And for this, we need to figure out what are going to be the transformed variables. How do we calculate? Check out, not the R value. Look at the previous slot. Go back to the previous example right there, Barrett. Check out the start of the video, and I talk about statistical significance at this point. So check that out right there for statistical significance of the model. Check that out right there. So good hints for that one. So when we do this right here, for this data set, let's pull up the notes because we've got question 2, chapter 3. So let me go grab the notes for this real quick. Little music out here. Going to grab the assignment book. Here we are on the homework packet. And with the homework packet open, let's go take a look at it. I feel like I just hit 2 buttons. And so we're going down to, it says go to page 127. I think I already know what we're doing though. Here it is, 127. And we're using the housing data set right here. Let's go take a look at it. And we are going to use, it says a very common transformation pair is log-log. Although it's not the transformation pair that gives us the highest R squared. Check out the start of this video right here, Abby. We go over the QQ straight enough, no outliers, plot doesn't thicken condition. When we're going over the 4 conditions right here, check out the start of the video and we cover the 4 conditions. Good question. That is going to be at the 4-minute mark in the video. We start off going regression, and you can actually rewind this video live by pulling back on the bar down here on the bottom. So Abby, great questions right there. And so we are talking about the log-log transformation right here. We need to fit the model and examine the visualized model and the check regression. So this is a really great question to do right here because we're going to do a log-log transformation. I believe we are predicting, where is it? We got Zillow and Trulia. So fit a model. We are predicting the selling price from the square footage. So let's go ahead and fit that model right here. We're actually going to see some regression. So in the EX3 housing data set, we have the area and the price. And these are just how much did the house cost and how big is the house. So there's how much the house costs. Houses cost a lot more now. And here's the square footage of the house. So all of this right here is just telling us how big is the house and also how many square feet is and how much does the house cost. We're going to take the log 10 of these. Now log 10 actually means if we have 1,000, you basically count the zeros and you'd say log 10 of 1,000 is going to be 3. So $1,000 house would be worth $3. A $10,000 house, $4. And it's just how many zeros there are. So when you see these numbers right here, you can basically think this one was worth, no way is that, wait, let me think. Trying to think. 3 zeros. 1,000? Oh, that's in area. That's 1,000 square feet. So the price, let's log 10 the price right here. We might see more 5s and 6s. And so we do see more 5s and maybe some 6s. But this is the log 10 of the price right here. So this would be 5 zeros, somewhere in the $100,000 to $1 million range. I doubt we have any that are well beyond that. But there's the log 10 of the values. We're going to predict the price of a house. So we're going to store that into the Y transformed object. And we're going to predict the, we're going to use the X variable of how big is the house. We can fit the model right here by going to save into a model, the Y transformed, and use the X transformed. That's Y tilde X right there. They're not inside of a data frame, so we don't need to actually call a data frame afterwards. They're there in the global environment right there, X trans and Y trans. When we visualize the model, we're going to see if it looks like there's any problems. And actually, you know what? This is a great moment right here, Abby, to mention the QQ straight enough, no outliers, plot doesn't thicken. So how do we check QQ? Who knows in the chat right now? Let's throw 100 points for each answer. This is to Abby and everyone else. How do we check QQ? How do we check QQ? How do I know this is QQ, 2 quantitative variables? How would we look at this right here and say it's 2 quantitative variables? Good point right here. This is regression just like 201. How do we know this is 2 quantitative variables? Even though we've transformed them, we took the log 10 of them, what would we say? Our question doesn't exactly ask us to do this, but this is a good check for 320 and 201. How do we know this is QQ? Had a little lag burst right there. Sorry about that. How do we know it's two quantitative variables? What does that mean for two quantitative variables? Two quantitative variables is condition 1. So what does it mean that it is two quantitative variables? That would mean that area is measured in a quantity, like how big is the house, and price is measured in a quantity. Now, these are transformed, but they're still quantitative. So these are both two quantitative variables. Straight enough means that a red line, or the line we plot right here, goes through the middle of the data. And that would slice through the middle of this. Think of it cutting down the middle of it, and that's going through the middle of it at all times. This is straight enough. No outliers means we don't see any extreme outliers. I know there's kind of light outliers right here and light outliers right here. I don't see anything extreme, but the last condition of plot does not thicken is going to be a problem. Plot thickening is appearing inside of this, that we are seeing it get a little bit thicker as it goes through. We don't want it to get much thicker, and I do see some issues of plot thickening where the plot looks to get a little bit thicker at points of the data. So I would say this one mostly has an issue with the plot thickening if I'm seeing it. Now, funny enough, we have a way of checking this in 320, and we do it by the check regression. And let's take a look. First thing we need to do when doing the check regression is we need to look at the p-values. The p-values for the check regression tell us whether or not we pass the conditions. Since all the p-values are low, or any of them, if any p-value is low, you fail. Linearity, we fail linearity. Equal spread, we fail equal spread, which means that's not good. We have problems with equal spread. We also have problems with the normality of residuals. That's step 1. Low p-values are bad. All of those show a problem. So we're actually doing the conditions like, is it linear? Is it equal spread? Is there a plot thickening issue? And normality of residuals is something we talk about a lot in 320. So there's problems with all of those. Every one of those is a problem. But now we have to see if the sample size is at least 25 to continue. So since we have a sample size of at least 25, we can actually go on and do the remaining look at this. And what we needed to do now is look at the linearity of the model here. I do not see a problem with the linearity. And for 201, that's a residual plot. That is a plot of all the residuals, which you are currently doing in your assignment, not with that one. You are currently showing your residual plot down here. So just like we have a residual plot in 201, we're trying to see if there's plot thickening or if the line is going through. Here's the residual plot in 201. Here's the residual plot in 320. And the line looks to still go through the center of the data, which is good. So I do not think there's a problem with linearity. I'm excusing that one. I'm like, you're good. I don't see a big problem. The next one is the equal spread. I do see some spread issue here, a little bit of spread issue. I see a little bit. Like, how bad? Little bad. Not crazy bad. I've seen way worse. So this is a little bit bad. Now the last condition is the normality of the residuals. So the normality of the residuals is over here. Remember, if it follows the red line, it's normal. The more it deviates from the red line, the less normal it is. So I would say there's some light problems here with the high values. Probably these ones right here. Light, I don't know if I'd call them outliers. They're just things a little bit away. Light outliers, if you're going to call them outliers. They're not, there's a few of them, so it's not like one point to be an outlier. But light points that are further away, a little bit too high, and those go with these points right here, and they're not following the red line, which is the normal curve. So I'd say this has some issues, not large issues. The biggest issues are going to be with the normality of the residuals, where it doesn't follow the line right there. And also the equal spread seems to have some issues towards the center of the model where there's more spread in the data. And so, yeah, I would say there's some light, moderate issues. But that's got it right there. I think that helps out with 201. We will be back later. I'm going to be teaching here in a little bit. But swing by afternoon office hours if you're working on the visualization. If you want to do some more chapter 7, we got a good bit work today, and we did some 320 and 474. So check it out, and I will try to start next office hours with the GPA SAT question. Marijuana. Oh, we do. Yep. Check out the marijuana and other drug question in today's office hours here, Barrett, or Richard right here. It's in today's office hours right there. Check out the 30-minute mark from today's video. You can rewind it live, and we'll also be back later if you want to check out more, have more questions. Somehow I'm showing just the edge of my monitor right there. You're welcome, Richard. Great job, great questions. So that is in today's video right there. Check it out, and we will come back and work on more a little later today. Until then, I'll see everyone later. Bye for now. Bye.